Is this what y'all like? I'm gonna start every stream like a kindergarten teacher starts a class. Let me turn up my audio a little bit. Can y'all even hear the music? Let me know if the audio levels are good. Can you hear me? Can you hear the music? Is it too loud? I'm very bad at that. What up, Nutty VR? What up, Ace K? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Oh, do I need this light? Sure, just in case. Oh, it's an IKEA knife. Maybe we just leave this on the whole time. I kind of like this. This is to appeal to the TikTok crowd. Maybe we just watch this together. What's up, Boo7? What's up, guys? How's it going? I know it's been a minute since I've streamed. Dude, Ace K, thank you for the $1 donation, man. That is awesome. So nice of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it, man. I am here. I am at y'all's beck and call to answer any questions y'all have. And just to hang out. Maybe we'll play some games. This is mostly just to hang out, so I appreciate that. Really do. Are y'all into this? Do y'all like this kind of content? This is for a very specific type of person, I feel like. There are some people who just absolutely love this. Like, they can't get enough of it. I think in small doses, I can kind of enjoy it. I think I get the appeal. Are they going to smash this? Yeah. Oh, nice. Is the music okay? Is it too loud? Or can y'all even hear the music? It's very loud in my ear. Is it cake? I wish it was cake. Dude, that's sand. This is just sand. So they color sand and then they mess with it. And it's meant to be very satisfying to like play with it or to crunch it up because sand has a certain type of texture that people really enjoy. Oh, and the sounds. Okay, I don't like that sound, but apparently people really do enjoy the sounds. Oh, they're slicing it up. I don't know, there's something kind of mesmerizing about it. Okay, to start. Ace K. Okay, I do like it. I do kind of like it too. Maybe we leave it up for a second. Ace K asks, how do I get FSR3? I have the installer, but I'm missing the file. I'm actually not sure. I thought FSR3 is automatically activated if you can't hear the audio. What audio? The audio of this video or the music. So FSR3 I thought was automatically done if you at least have the drivers, right? I'm actually unfamiliar with it. I haven't been able to test it yet. I thought it just automatically, it came with the drivers as long as you have the right GPU and the right game. Because I don't think every game supports FSR3. So I can't really troubleshoot with it. I haven't tried it. I've heard it's pretty good. I would love to try it sometime soon, yeah. I think, yeah, it might just be that the game you're playing is not compatible with it. Or your GPU might not be compatible with it. So check out their drivers, check out their support. I think they, I know it's very specific these days. That's cool. Glad you're trying with that. That seems very cool. Boo7 asks, gaming laptop or ROG Ally? That's a tough decision. It depends on your budget. A ROG Ally, the extreme version, can be found for like $500 these days from Best Buy. So it's pretty affordable, actually. Firestorm Psycho, what's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. I would say, yeah, it depends on your budget. If you only have $500 or $600 and you don't intend to use the ROG Ally like a laptop, so like you just want to play gaming and you just want to do like, yeah, just gaming on the go, they're both pretty good. But I think ROG Ally, it's really about the form factor. Is having an entire laptop that big of a device going to be cumbersome to you? If the answer is yes, then get a ROG Ally. If you don't mind the form factor and you actually want to use a laptop or you want to use your device for things other than gaming, I mean, you can't beat a laptop for productivity. Yeah, I think they're both good devices, but it's just hard to say for what you need, I would say. It really depends on you. Yeah. Brickman says, opinion on the new MSI handheld. I I I I don't care. I I don't care. And what I mean by that is that it looks so similar to the ROG Ally that I'm just not interested. I the only reason I'm interested is because of Intel. I want to see what Intel is gonna do for the handheld, and being able to power it in that device is something we have. It's not brand new because other people have done it, like the small manufacturers like 1X Player. But I want to see what Intel can do in that new chip with a handheld that's mainstream. So I think that'll be very cool to see. But outside of that, I'm not super excited about the Claw from MSI because it just, from my eyes, there doesn't seem to be much innovation. It just seems like an Intel chip in a ROG Ally form factor. But I don't know. I think all new products, all competition is good for what we're doing. It'll encourage everyone to do better, lower prices, everything. So I'm glad MSI is doing it. I'm just not as hype as I was for like the Legion Go, the ROG Ally, or the Steam Deck. So it's just kind of, we're entering that phase now where it's just going to be another ROG Ally or something. But I hope they prove me wrong. I'm really excited to see how that Intel chip performs. So we'll see. I don't know. MSI has said they're going to make like four claws. Like they're already double downing on it. So that's good that they've got future plans. MSI is a pretty big manufacturer, and I'm sure they'll do it justice. It's going to be pretty interesting. Nutty VR. I'm going to start flipping Dell Optiplexes by adding a GPU and SSD. Thoughts? That's cool, man. Yeah, you can definitely do that. I will say it is hard. It's harder to flip a Dell Optiplex with a GPU in it than it is to flip a custom gaming rig. And it's because a lot of people don't get it, right? Like, you have to come in really cheap because when people buy a computer, they want that aesthetic. They want what they think a computer is going to be, where it's got the gaming RGB, it's got the fans in the front. If you show someone an Optiplex and you tell them it's a gaming computer, it's hard. It's a hard sell. I've tried it. Trust me. You can definitely do it, but you're going to have to cut your price significantly compared to a full PC. And trying to convince people that this thing's a gaming PC is not easy. So just be prepared that you might have to cut your prices, but that's great. Yeah, I love the idea of keeping Optiplexes out of the landfill, using old GPUs. It's awesome. So I encourage it. Go do it. Just be prepared if it might be hard to sell at first. Depends on your country. I don't know what country you're in. So ROG over the go. No, absolutely not. The ROG Ally is great. It's fine, but it's not super innovative. The Legion Go is very cool, very innovative, I will say. So if you had a gun to my head right now and told me to pick one, I would choose the Legion Go for sure. I really like the Legion Go actually. I did a review on it recently. I think it's just fun. It's just interesting. It's got that big screen on it. It's so cool and different and interesting. It's not just another Steam Deck. It's something that they've actually gone out of their way to do something with. And that's something that you generally only see with like Chinese manufacturers. Because Chinese manufacturers, like, because of the way global economy works, they are not afraid to try things that are like out there or they think might fail. Like if you look at like the craziest phones with like this, like the dumbest features, right? Like maybe they're not practical, maybe they're not like super useful, but it's always like Chinese phone makers like Oppo and Xiaomi who are doing these things that are just like, Wow, crazy. Like who would even want that kind of thing? But I like that innovation. I like that kind of extra effort put into new technology because we've hit a point where a lot of the technology is kind of the same, kind of samesies. So I really do like when manufacturers go out of their way to do something really innovative or interesting that ultimately might not be super practical, but it is uh, just cool. That's all I'll say. Yeah. So yeah, I would say right now, uh, the Legion Go is pretty good. I like it a lot. Which isn't to say you need to sell your ROG Ally right away. Not at all. ROG Ally still plays stuff pretty good, and I was using my ROG Ally up until the point I got the Legion Go. So I like it a lot. But in terms of innovation, yeah, Legion Go is the way to go. Blood, have you seen his recent vid? Nah, not everyone watches every video. Um, it's hard to do that. It's hard to get everyone because I've seen my audience is obviously not everyone's going to watch every video of every creator, but my audience is also very segregated where certain people only like Steam Deck stuff, certain people only like the gaming PC stuff, so it's kind of all over the place. So I don't expect y'all to play every video. So who knows? Renato, howdy, what's up, man? You from Texas? Good to see you, dude. We're just hanging out, watching some sand cutting. Good to see everyone's coming in, just hanging out. Maybe I should do this more often. I like answering y'all's questions. I wish Steam Deck OLED would get full Windows support. Yeah, me too. Uh, that's like the one downside to it, right? That's like the Steam Deck would be perfect if it just ran everything else perfectly. Nah, Miami. Okay, cool. Well, welcome in, man. Um, yeah, the OLED. I've actually got the OLED right here. I've been testing it out as well, and it's awesome. But yeah, Windows support would be nice. But what I ultimately wish is I want Windows to make a handheld version. If Microsoft made a dumbed down version of Windows that was specifically for handhelds, that would be fantastic. Am I right? Like that would be so great. Um, it might not it might not compete with SteamOS. Like obviously I understand that, but Microsoft's a big company; they can make it work. And if that means that they need to do it and make their own handheld, I'm okay with that too. But I think having a version of Windows that they can license to other handheld creators would be pretty cool too. They make a lot of money there. So I don't know. That's my ultimate wish. Because right now, yeah, sure, Windows is fine, but on handhelds, it's just kind of wonky. It works, but it's not as seamless as a SteamOS. You know what's annoying? Really big YouTubers have been advising to buy Optiplex, so now all the Optiplex sellers jacked up their prices. Really? They've been advising to buy Optiplexes? I didn't know that. But yeah, it's always like that, right? Have y'all noticed like you'll watch a video from a YouTuber, and even like not a huge YouTuber. Like we'll say you're watching like Toasty Bros, right? And they'll have a video saying like, "Hey, we bought this specific model of Dell Optiplex, and we put a GPU in it," or this thing from AliExpress, and it's like let's say it gets 20,000 views, which is not an insane number for bigger YouTubers, but it's a sizable amount of people. And then that product will be either out of stock instantly because it all got bought out, or the manufacturer or whoever's selling it decides to crank up the price because they realize that this YouTuber made a video on it, so they increase the price by like 20 or 30%. That's very annoying. I hate when that happens. Um, but what can you do? Not a Windows 8 recreation. Yeah, Windows 8 was so before its time, right? Like at the time I'm like this sucks. What is this for? But now that I'm like thinking about it now, I think it'd be pretty interesting. I want to try Windows 8 on a handheld. I wonder if that would actually make it run better. Because I understood what they were going for. They were just too early. The idea of having touch and everything being like app based was a little too early. I think if they did something like that, somewhere between Windows 11 and Windows 8, maybe it could be good. I don't know. They'd have to work from the ground up though, because yeah, 8 was just weird. Psycho says getting to PC stuff is hard, man. Should I just go back to console? Yeah, that's okay. I will honestly say, PC gaming is not for everyone. If you don't like it, then you don't like it, man. It's really complicated. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of options. But when you're on console, you basically have two options. PlayStation or Xbox, right? Like, which one do I choose? And, they're pretty similar, so it's not that big of a decision. But yeah, PC gaming can be pretty difficult. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and I understand that, I will say. For me, the answer was always play where my friends are playing, right? So growing up, we all played Nintendo 64. So I played Nintendo 64, right? And then the generation after that, but I always had a PC. There's always a PC, but I would say it wasn't always my main thing. And then in the Xbox 360 generation, all my friends were playing on Xbox Live. So Xbox 360 Live was where it was. And then in the time of World of Warcraft, everyone's playing World of Warcraft. Okay, let's all go on PC. So I always went where my friends go. And so I would always encourage people, that should be your first thing. That if you want to play with your friends, go play with your friends first and foremost. That is the most important part, because this is a social thing. You'll be way happier playing on a $100 computer with your friends than playing on your $500 PS5 by yourself. So that's just my opinion, though. That's how I feel. So I would always say go where your friends are. And if you don't have any friends, you can just pick a PC or a console and then make some friends online. That's the way to do it. So yeah, I would say need PC for school too, Saab. Yeah, true. I mean, especially, and I will say that's a benefit of it, that you can here, check it. You can tell your parents to buy you a computer because you'll say you need it for school, right? And then it's their money, it's not yours. You get what I'm saying, guys? Y'all understand, right? You say, I need this for school. I need to render out projects. Okay? That's how you do it. It's been doing it for a long time. Everyone's been doing that for like 30 years, guys. That's how you do it. Renato says, I would argue the ROG Ally is better, but Steam Deck doesn't have to change anything. They are the Switch of handhelds. Yeah, and you're totally entitled to your opinion. And if you're talking about if it's better, performance-wise, yes, obviously. Obviously, a ROG Ally is better. It just is. It's got a better chip. It's got more horsepower. It can run most stuff in 1080p, where the Steam Deck can only do 720. Absolutely. And if performance is like your main takeaway, then yes, ROG Ally is better. But for me, like, it's more about the feeling. When you're getting to these handhelds, none of them are powerful. Like, it just is. They are nowhere even close to a desktop. So to me, it's more about like what you can do with it, the fun you can have with it, the ease of use. Those things are way more important to me than actual just straight raw performance, because we're not at this point where, like, the difference between a Steam Deck and a ROG Ally is 20 FPS, like, or whatever. Like, it's just not enough for me to say, oh, I want this thing. It's way better. It's not a generational gap like a PS4 to a PS5. Right? And I would say it's not even like a PS4 to a PS4 Pro. It's just a little bit better. So, like, to me, ease of use and innovation is more important than just raw performance. But if you like ROG Ally, yeah, stick with it, man. I'm not saying it's bad. It's very good. They're all good. That's the best part about handhelds right now, is that they're all pretty good. So if you like the ROG Ally, that's awesome, man. I would say stick with it. I like it too. Firestorm says, there's rumors that Microsoft is making a handheld Xbox next generation. Yeah, I saw that, and I think we got that in that Microsoft leak last year, right? That would be very cool. I think people have been asking for that for a long time, like 20 years, kind of long time. So I think that would be very cool, as long as it's not a cloud-based system. If they make something that is like the Logitech G Cloud, I'll be very upset, because I don't want that. I want Microsoft to make a true gaming handheld. And if they want to market it for Game Pass, that's fine. That's their right. But I don't want it to be only cloud. I want it to be a little bit more powerful. So I hope Microsoft does that. And but the problem is that Microsoft, outside of the Xbox, has not had a good track record of making good hardware. Right? Like, you've got the Surface laptops, and they're cool, but they're expensive. And they're just not as good as MacBooks. Like, they're just not. And so, like, I'm trying to think of any other Microsoft. Can you think of any Microsoft hardware outside of the Xbox brand that Microsoft has been successful in and has dominated in? We've got Windows Phone, failure. Zune, failure. Surface tablets, arguably a mid failure, but it depends on who you ask. Surface laptops, good hardware, pretty expensive. What else did they make? I don't know, but that'd be very cool. I would love that they would do that. Oh, by the way, guys, I don't know if you saw, I designed a new t-shirt. Check this out. That big deck energy. See that? I worked with a designer to design this. This is my original design. If you want to support the channel and pick up this shirt, go to that link on the screen, jasonwhitmer.tech. You can pick one up. Really appreciate it. It's really good cotton too. It's not the cheap shit. I made sure it's a good shirt. So if you want to check it out, go to that link, jasonwhitmer.tech. I appreciate your support. And just don't tell your parents what big deck energy means. Hopefully they don't get it. Let me see. It's going to be a native gameplay. It's got to. Yeah, I agree. It better be. It better be. For me, to play a cloud handheld would be cool. I get it. I understand the appeal. It needs to be 150 or less. For me. The PlayStation Portal got close with 200. I think 150 or less is like the perfect number. And I think it'd be cool. I think it's fine. I'd be okay with that. All my friends playing like Valorant, Counter-Strike, and Siege. Yeah, man. If you want to play with them, you gotta go PC. I'm sorry. Like, and just, but don't overcomplicate it. I know it's really easy to go down into a rabbit hole of like watching all these tech videos and these PC videos and saying you need to buy this, no, buy this. No, don't worry about it. Buy what you can afford and play games on it, and stop watching tech videos. Like honestly, like and I know that's hard to say as a creator, and I want you to watch all my videos, but honestly, if it's causing stress in your life and you don't really care, like you don't want to deal with all this, you just want to play games, buy something within your budget, play the games, enjoy them, turn off the FPS counter, turn off all your performance stuff. You will have a good time. Trust me. You don't need to go out and buy the latest and greatest every generation. Play with your friends. You'll have a good time, I promise. Don't overthink it. I know it's really easy to go into that. There's just so many videos, right? There's so much information. It's so hard to understand and keep track. Like, I get it. Like, just don't, man. It's so difficult. Let's see. Renato says Sony is winning hardware, Microsoft is winning software. Yeah, it seems to be that way, doesn't it? I have a PlayStation 5. I actually do really like it. I think they did a good job on it other than the design, and they kind of fixed that with the Slim. But yeah, Microsoft has always been a software company, and every hardware they make is just kind of meh, right, outside of the Xbox. So they're killing it. But Microsoft is so much bigger than Sony. It's not even a competition because Microsoft does so much more than Sony ever could. So it's hard to compare them. It's easier to compare the Xbox division specifically to Sony PlayStation division, right? Because Sony does do other things. But it's hard to compare the two. But when Xbox is taking money from Microsoft, like Windows and everything else, servers and everything else they do, and they're borrowing money from them to buy game studios, Sony cannot compete. They simply cannot. And that's why they have all these lawsuits, right? Because Sony knows this. Microsoft also kind of knows it, and that's why they're doing it. So it's hard to compare them apples to apples. But if we're talking about just consoles, yeah, I do really like my PS5. Nutty VR says, here's what I say about gaming. If you want to just play games and your friends are on console, get one if you want. That's it. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Play where your friends are playing. Consoles are great, man. You can get a PS5 for what, $400 now? $350 if you go used. And it's literally plug and play. You don't have to do any configuration. It's less likely to die. I mean, it just works. You can play in 4K on your TV. You can play on a monitor if you want. You can use peripherals. Like, it's just nice. It really is. But if you want to stream, if you want to play games like Valorant, League of Legends, if you want to video edit it, if you want to do stuff for school, you'll need a PC, unfortunately. But if it's just for games with your friends and they're on console, get a console, man. Umbrology says, hey, it's my favorite YouTuber. It's Ransack. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Ransack? Good to see you, man. You got a new little account? Umbrology. What's up, dude? Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope it's going okay. Microsoft is everywhere. Yeah. Microsoft is so much bigger than y'all know. It is almost insane. Yeah. To anyone who's new here, I see a lot of new names, and I see a lot of names I recognize too. Thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all. I read every comment on every video, even if I don't respond, and I appreciate y'all watching and being here. I appreciate it. I know I used to stream a few times more often a few months ago, and I told myself, I'm going to do this every week, and then I didn't, because it came to the point where I was like, hey, it's time for that weekly stream, and I realized I'm like, I have nothing to say. Right? Like, I have nothing to say this week, so I just didn't. And I feel like it makes more sense to stream when there is content to be had rather than to do it out of obligation. So I'd like to stream more often, but I don't want to set to a set schedule. It'll probably just be every so often whenever I want to hang out with y'all. Right? And not just be forced, because there's nothing worse than watching a streamer go through the motions because of they're contractually obligated to stream, right? So I'll just do it whenever I can. Nutty VR says, what are you streaming on hardware? So I usually have a better camera and a better mic, but today I'm just using the headset and I'm just using a webcam because this is just, we're just hanging out. I don't need to set my good camera up. Usually I will stream on this bad boy, which is a Sony A6400. But it's a lot of work to set up, and I'm just like, you know what? We're just hanging out. I don't need to do anything in that. But hardware-wise, I am actually... Oh, y'all are going to love this. Let me see if my camera can set it. This is for an upcoming video. I am streaming on a Lenovo P520 workstation computer that costs $180, and I slot in an RTX 3060 Ti. That's it. So this is what this stream is being ran on right now. And so all in, I think this was like $400, $420. And so that just goes to show you, you don't have to build a $1,000 PC to do anything. That was like $420. And that is an office PC with a GPU in it. So get creative with your PCs, get creative with everything. They can go a lot harder than you can expect, right? So I'd say if there's a quality issue with the stream, it's almost certainly a settings issue because I lost all my settings from before, and it's just like my cheap hardware and stuff. It's not the computer. The computer's, my CPU is running at 2% right now, so it's totally fine. This thing is 10 cores and 20 threads. That's insane. It's going to be just fine. Elijah's Lab in the house. What's up, man? If you guys don't know Elijah, he is a resident Zoomer here on YouTube. He makes great PC content, mostly PC flipping. And they're awesome. They're a totally different style from mine, but they're more relatable and frankly more interesting than my content. So go check out Elijah's Lab if you've never heard of him. Great guy. But he's in a flyover state, so you can't really trust anything he says. The beautiful part, Renato says, the beautiful part of gaming on a computer, at the end of the day, it's also a computer. Exactly, yes. That's also what I say. So every time I see a comment saying, just game on a console, it's like, but it's not a computer. Like, you understand that? Computers can do a lot of things that aren't a console. Yeah, I think these days you can hang out in Discord on a console, but it's not the same, right? You don't have a keyboard. Like, yeah, you can, but it's not a PC. There's a lot more you can do. That vid is going to be crazy. Yeah, I'm excited, man. This is a really great value. I almost put like a 3080 in it, but the boost clock of the CPU is just not enough to handle that, or I don't think it could. So I went with a 3060 Ti, but I think it's handling it like a champ. This is 1440p. I was able to get like 80 FPS on Cyberpunk, which is just insane at 1440p, right? Like, it's just going crazy. Yeah, we all start off on a budget PC. Dude, I'm still on budget PCs. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And this thing is really cool, actually. Like this Lenovo P520, it has a SD slot in the front, so I can just slide in my SD card for my camera and digest my footage. It's got a bunch of USB 3.0 slots. It's got two NVMe M.2 slots. It's got built-in Wi-Fi card, a lot of expandability, tons of SATA ports. Like this thing is like kind of a dream. And the only downside is that it's ugly. But it's better looking than an Optiplex, I will say that, and it's toolless. So everything in it you can just mess around with, and you don't need any tools. You don't need a screwdriver. You don't need to remove any bays like on a Dell Optiplex. I opened this up. I threw in a storage drive. I plugged in the GPU. Done. Computer running. Don't have to deal with any of that Optiplex bullcrap. So I actually really, really like it. 56K on Steam alone, while only 9K on Xbox and PS5 games. Yeah. I mean, with PC, you are effectively playing on a platform that is 30 plus years old at this point, right? Like 40 years of back catalog, right? Because you can play games as far as DOS, back from the 80s. Your PC can play those. So that's crazy, right? Talk about backwards compatible. That's the ultimate backwards compatible, and it can also play most of those console games as well. NES, SNES, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 3 these days, Xbox 360. Those are all emulatable on a PC. So unless you want to go play, God of War Ragnarok the day it comes out, you can simply just buy a PC. So there's a lot of plus and downs. Sounds like a pretty great value PC, nice little sleeper. Yeah. It's absolutely a sleeper. But I kind of like it. I kind of like it a lot, actually. I like it more than any Optiplex I've ever built. It costs a little bit more, though, of course, but it's a nice little PC. I really wish I would have put a 3070 in it or a 6700 XT, but the 3060 Ti is kind of doing it like a champ. I was just wondering what a tech YouTuber is rocking. Yeah, I kind of bounce around computers, unfortunately. I do all of my editing on a MacBook for a lot of reasons. It's not necessarily what I game on, obviously, but this is a M1 MacBook Pro, which is from like 2020, I believe. And it's primarily because of the battery life, the fact that I can use it for editing for 20 plus hours and the battery doesn't die is just unbeatable. It truly is. It is unbelievable. And it plays the games I want to play on it fine, which is stuff like Teamfight Tactics or World of Warcraft. Generally, that's what I want to play on a laptop. I don't want to play Cyberpunk on my laptop because why? And I have Steam Deck if I want to play games on the go like that. So it's primarily a work PC, but I do like it a lot. I do all my editing on that. And then if I want to play on a desktop PC, this ASMR is oddly satisfying. I know, dude. I thought, I took from TikTok's book where they will show like a podcast of two white dudes talking about nothing, and then on top they'll put ASMR. I'm like, dude, this will keep people hooked because looking at my face is not interesting. Like, just listen to my voice and we can keep talking, and you just watch that. Maybe I'll switch it off soon. It's kind of working. And you can do your taxes, not to mention all the emulators. Yes, exactly, dude. Exactly. I mean, if you need something that can do everything, dude, get a PC. But for a lot of people, like a lot of people don't like computers these days. I know a lot of people, they have like their work laptop, right? Or they have like their work computer, so they work on that. But when it comes to gaming, they just want to get home from work. They want to turn on the TV, sit on the couch, pull up a controller, and they want to play a game. And so like for that, I think consoles can be very good. I think they're great. Need some GTA gameplay clips? Yeah, dude. Or no, I'll put up Subway Surfer. Maybe we can watch some Subway Surfer in a second because I think it's starting to loop some of the sand. Game Pass on PC is good too. Yeah, I agree. Game Pass is pretty good on PC. I have that as well. That was how I was able to play Pal World the day it came out without paying any extra money. I hear the M3 MacBook sucks. I I'm not too up to date, but the last I remember, it's not like it sucks. It just isn't revolutionary. Like the M1 was such a huge leap. It's hard to make incremental gaps from it, right? Because the M1 was so good. And so I think the M3, I wouldn't say it sucks. It's just like if you already have an M1 or an M2, you don't need an M3 because it's not really giving you too much. And the MacBook form factor is still the same. It's not too much. So I think maybe I'll update my laptop if I ever feel like it's holding me back. But right now, the battery is still insane. The performance is still insane. Like, I just have no reason to update. And so I think that's why with if they come out with an M4, they really have to like find something to make it worthwhile for the people who upgraded in 2020 to keep upgrading. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yeah, it is. Yeah, and a hot dog. A hot dog is both a hot dog and a sandwich. Yeah. See how quickly I answered that, and how we didn't have to have a whole conversation about it. It simply is. Like I don't know what to tell you, and that's okay. And then people will say, "Well, is a tamale a sandwich?" Yeah, sure. I don't care. Yeah, call it a sandwich. I don't care. Is sushi a sandwich? Yeah, if you want. I don't care. You're getting a Temu ad right now? Man, they better pay me. I don't know how the ads work on streams. I don't get to control them. Did y'all see at this? I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I saw that Temu had an ad on there, and that they pronounced their own company name Temu, which is fine. But the problem is that last year at the Super Bowl, they had an ad that they called themselves Temu. So either they rebranded or they don't know and frankly don't care what you call their company. A tamale is a hot pocket. Yeah, sure, I don't care. Yeah. I don't yeah. When people get so upset about this stuff, I'm like, dude, yeah, call it whatever you want. Who cares? I'm still gonna eat it. You can call it tamale a hot pocket. You can call a hot pocket sushi. I don't care. People get so worked up. The M1 Mac, Elijah's Lab says, the M1 Mac was such a huge step up. Yep, way better than the old Intel chips. The new Apple Silicon is insane. I still have the 14-inch M1. Yes. Yes, precisely. That's exactly how I feel. Before the M1, I never touched Mac hardware, ever, because it was just horrible. It was underpowered, overpriced, garbage. Like, literally, I had tried my friends' MacBooks, and they were like, man, the build quality was sleek. I'll say that. Of course, you had that same MacBook sleekness, but they were just so underpowered. Like, I couldn't believe people were using dual core processors in like what 2018 for the MacBook Air, maybe 2017, 2018. I was like, wow, this is just so outdated. It's crazy. And they got very hot on the bottom, which was crazy. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe you paid $2,000 for this. I'm very sad. But now, the M1, M2, M3 MacBooks, while being pricey, they are not as outlandish as the Intel ones. They have insane battery lives. They have just as good build quality. The performance on the CPU and the GPU, APU, whatever, is amazing. And the only thing it can't do well is game that much. But they're working on that. And everything else it does is just better. It just is. And so if I don't have to worry about all that stuff when I'm working, yeah, I'll take it. And so it's funny that before 2020, I was not into Macs at all. I thought they were garbage. And then the M1 stuff came out, and I am a believer now. But I still believe anything before 2020 is hot garbage. It was the same ad as Super Bowl? Oh, so you got the same Super Bowl ad? Oh, okay, interesting. For you're not Bezos. That's true, dude. Sarah, what's up, dude? For 500, I always see just Chromebook recommendations. Got something worth buying. You mean for $500? Like what to recommend to buy? Yeah. I don't know. If you're gonna buy a Chromebook, which I'm not super against, Chromebooks have their place. I wouldn't spend more than 200. Are you talking about for gaming? Are you talking about for laptops, for productivity, for $500? What are you talking about? What do you want to do? Because if you got 550, I don't know. The Steam Deck OLED is a compelling thing. It's really compelling, honestly, if you just want a handheld gaming device. If you just want a laptop for productivity, instead of spending $300 on a Chromebook, I would spend $100 on a used ThinkPad that has an 8th gen CPU, USB-C, all the ports you're ever going to need, removable upgradable battery, upgradable RAM, upgradable storage, nothing soldered down, a 1080p screen, not touchscreen, and a working trackpad and little nipple for $100. If you need a cheap laptop, that's what I recommend, really. I wouldn't buy a Chromebook at that point. Nah, work. Yeah, I mean, if you are on a budget, dude, a used laptop, don't buy a Chromebook. Buy a used ThinkPad. You'll get way more life out of it. I would say 8th gen Intel is where I would draw the line, though. If you're buying a used laptop in 2024, I wouldn't buy anything before then. So don't try to buy like a 6500 or something. I would say, yeah. Unless if it's just for like normal work, like you're not doing CAD, you're not gaming on it. The ThinkPad, that was the T480, is a great device because it has USB-C charging. I think it has a Thunderbolt on it. It's got all the ports you'll ever need, and everything is replaceable, not soldered down, totally good to go. Just make sure you get one with a 1080p screen. And they're like 100, 120 bucks. Can't be beat. And you can game on it if you want to do emulation. It'll do just fine on that. Facebook Marketplace unfortunately has better deals than eBay. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. The only time I'll use eBay is if my local market is dry, which does happen quite often. My local market's very dry sometimes. Or if I don't want to drive to the other side of town, eBay can sometimes get a deal, but eBay's not really a deal because they have to pay like 13% to eBay. So you're going to have to pay that in the cost and then their shipping cost and everything. So yeah, the best deals are not found on eBay just because of the nature of it. It is what it is. I bought a ThinkPad for $160, and for what I need, it works. Yeah, man, I love them. This is a $100 ThinkPad I bought that I specifically use to benchmark games on. So I will plug in my capture card, and I will use this next to it because it's battery powered and it has USB-C, and so I can record everything on this, and the whole computer won't have to offload that power. It'll just be ran on the capture card. So, and this is totally portable. And if I need a backup laptop that runs Windows, I can do it on this, you know. I have my MacBook for everything else, but for backup things, I love this thing. It was only $100, so I think it's great. I love using old budget stuff as long as it's still good. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the cheapest crap you can find on eBay. I think there's a lot of modern amenities that I just can't live without anymore, like USB-C, charging. I like having an SD card reader. Like, there's a lot of things that you can't just use. You know, like you could say like, oh, this is a dual core PC, but all I'm doing on it is browsing the web. Yeah, you'll be okay technically, but I don't know, man. It's 2024. Let's bump it up to quad core because websites are getting more and more demanding every year. Like a computer from 2005 would have a hard time running websites from 2024, just because there's more stuff on them, right? Like it's just how it is. It's the nature of the. And we watch a lot more videos than we watched in 2005 and higher resolutions, so that's going to take more processing power. You can get away with a dual core for sure, but and a hard drive too, instead of an SSD. But those are some things that I just feel like we need to leave in the past. Bro, I won an auction for a used 2070 Super for $100 on eBay. Wow, that's awesome. I never do the auctions. That's awesome that you won. That's a pretty good deal. But I personally never use the auctions just because I don't have the patience. But that's awesome that you won then. Very fantastic. I have a ThinkPad. Jeff Wayne. What's up, Jeff Wayne? I have a ThinkPad T440S that I got for $120. 4th Gen i5 runs Linux Mint. Yeah, man. That's awesome. Good deal. And Linux being inherently less resource heavy than Windows can really breathe the fresh air into an old laptop, and it'll run it just fine. Like you said, it's running a 4th Gen i5, which is pretty old at this point. That's like, what, 2014, 2013? But I'm sure it runs great. It could totally do everything you need. And those 4th gen i5s are still 4-core processors, so yeah, you'd be totally good. That's awesome, man. The T440S, I don't know them too well, but I think that's one that you can get it with a 1080p screen. But even if it didn't, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to teach you how to use Linux, Jason. I know the basics. I know how to use Linux, okay? All right, guys. I know how to use Linux. I use Linux every day. Okay? I use Linux every day. It's the greatest, okay? I just don't want to, right? I personally only use Linux on my Steam Deck and on my server. My home server does run Linux. And I just don't like Linux for desktop browsing. I personally just don't. If you gave me a laptop and it had Linux on it and I had to do all my work on it, that'd be fine. But for the stuff I want out of a laptop or out of a desktop experience, Linux is just kind of too many steps. But I do like it. I think if you can handle Linux, it's great for lower powered machines for sure. Yes, the T440s had 1080p IPS option. Yeah, then yeah, awesome deal. Great laptop. Renato says, I actually won Xbox One X back in the day from Taco Bell. That is awesome, dude. I remember the Xbox Series X, I think. They had Taco Bell ones. That's awesome. Do you still game on it? I always wanted to win one of those like Taco Bell Mountain Dew coated consoles. I think that'd be so sick. I've seen them on online. People sell them and they look so amazing. So unique. Thoughts on Tiny 11? I don't know what Tiny 11 is, actually. Is that like a mini PC? It sounds familiar. Tiny 11. Is that a mini PC? Never use a third-party Windows. You never know what's actually in it. Use LTSC or debloat Windows yourself. Yeah, I agree. I would generally, if I ever buy new stuff, I generally will always reinstall Windows myself. And yeah. If you're buying something used, this ThinkPad didn't come with Windows, so I had to install it myself. But it did come with storage. But I was able to wipe it clean and install Windows myself. And then yeah, it's just being safe. You know, if you're buying used from someone, you generally don't want to use the Windows they sell or they give you. And I sell a lot of gaming PCs. I flip them often, and I myself will install Windows for them, and I will install the drivers for them, like the graphics drivers, because I don't know their level of expertise, and I want them to be able to plug it in and start gaming right away if they want to. But I do often tell them, hey, it's always a smart idea when you're buying used to reinstall Windows. But just so you know, I installed a fresh copy and it's safe, but you know, in the future you never know. So it's always a good thing to do that, especially if you're buying from unsultry spots or vendors like on AliExpress or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wasn't there a KFC console? Yeah, that thing never came to fruition. The KFC console was promised by KFC. They said for years, this is happening. This is real. This is not fake. Here we are 5 years later, it never came out. They keep saying, this is real. We will make this. This is not just a video. This is not April Fool's. Where is it? Never came out. And at this point, it would be wholly underpowered. So it was absolutely fake. They just lied. It's a stripped down version of Windows with no bloatware. It can run on 200 megs of RAM. That's amazing. Tiny 11. I'll have to give it a shot. Is there any other compromises on it? Like, is it, because I know if you debloat Windows a little bit too far, sometimes some crucial services get deactivated. Does Tiny 11 deactivate any of those services? Like, am I going to have any issues if I use it, or can it do everything normal? It's pretty cool. I would love a dumbed down version of Windows. Windows is so Windows is like the USA. It is, I don't want to say the best. I will say it's the most popular, right? But it's also the most hated, right? So Windows is a lot like the US, and for fair reason, again, for Windows and the US. But I think people who hate it don't give it enough credit. Windows has been around for a long time. A lot of people know how to use it. They've been using it their whole lives. And it's pretty much the only real viable option for gaming and for a lot of software. And so, you know, while it has its downsides, it has a lot of upsides as well. So I think Windows gets too much of a bad rap recently. But for good reason. There's a lot of things I really, really hate about Windows. I mean, you could tell I use a MacBook for my main machine, so just no Edge. But is that a compromise? No, man, that's a feature. I don't use Edge, so if they were able to remove Edge, that's more of like a feature. That's not a that's not a You can get Win 10 down to about 90 processes after login with some trimming. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I really should debloat it. I generally will not use any debloating software, but I will go through and like remove. I do all the hard work myself. It's really dumb. I should go through. I generally will go through and remove any things I know I don't want, and I'll deactivate any kind of things that track me or show me specialized ads or any of that stuff. But I have seen people have good success with like the debloating softwares, so I should try it. I'll try out Tiny 11. That sounds cool. Maybe I'll do it on my laptop, on that ThinkPad. For me, Edge is only used to download Firefox. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. And they like beg you, right? You go to Firefox, you go to google.com, and it's like, please use Bing, please. And you try to like change it to the default. It's like, are you sure? Edge is good. Are you sure you want to do that? Click it 3 times and tell me to my face that you want to switch off from Edge. Do it. Show me. By the way, guys, if you weren't here in the beginning, I have designed a new shirt. This is the first Jason Whitmer merch for the Big Deck Energy. See that? I worked with a designer to make it. I think it's really fun, and I got a compliment on it in public today. If you want to get this shirt and support the channel, go to, where is it? That way. That link, jasonwhitmer.tech. That's my name, .tech. And cop one of these shirts. It's also a hoodie. And I think I'm going to have some other colors in the future, but I really like this one so far. So show your support for your Porty, your favorite Porty. Man, it's getting hot. This is not a beer, by the way. This is sparkling water. It's pretty good. It's okay. I really wish it didn't have the edgy marketing because I just like the taste, but it's one of those things. I use Edge on Linux. Edge is best browser. Really? I don't believe you. I truly don't believe you. There's no way you're downloading a Microsoft browser on Linux. Debloating Windows is easy. I do it on every fresh Windows install. Okay, I know. I just gotta do it. I'm just lazy. NuttyVR says it's like there's nothing wrong with Edge. It's just worse. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Edge is not like inherently bad and evil. I just don't like it. It's just not as good as the alternatives. And when everything else is free and it's a simple download to switch off of it, it's like, why not? I think if browsers cost money, we'll think like this. So Edge is free. Let's say it comes with Windows. Edge is free. Would you pay $15 to get Firefox? Would you pay $15 to get Chrome? What if it was $15 per year? Would you pay a $15 per year subscription to use Firefox, Chrome, Opera, whatever, and instead of using the default browser? What do y'all think? Brave? Would you pay $15 a year to use Brave? I don't know. What do y'all think? I think that's something that we forget about, that these things are inherently free. Obviously, you're paying with your data or other ways. They make money somehow, guys. And that's something to think about. Like, what if it costs money? Are those browsers good enough that you're willing to pay $15 a year? NuttyVR says yes. Jeff Wayne says I would pay yes. Okay. So why aren't they? Why aren't they charging? If it's so good and they anything but Edge and they are able to charge people like you guys said you'll do it, why don't they do it? They must be making more money from the data, right? They're not making these browsers out of the kindness of their own heart, you know what I mean? So it's just interesting. I always think about that, about free software, free services. I go, would I pay for this? Is this so good that I would pay for it? And that's actually how I feel about like supporting free content, like YouTubers, like UFD Tech, who is another tech YouTuber. He recently made like a coffee company, and they sell their coffee for like $18 or something plus shipping. which is a lot for coffee if you're comparing it to like Folgers, but it's actually comparable to premium coffees from other roasters. But I bought it anyway because I have ingested thousands of hours of free content from UFD, right? And I think spending $18 to support him and his team is a small price to pay when I've gotten so much out of it, right? And so it's always something to think about whenever you're getting something for free. Would you inherently pay for it? Who are you supporting whenever you get something for free? How are they making money on the back end? If you're okay with them using your data anonymously, which I generally am actually, then yeah, that's a good way to go about it. They're making money off our search history. Yep. Firefox roots go way back to Netscape. Yeah, Firefox is very old. I remember Firefox from back in the day, and it was before Chrome. Firefox was like the way to go. Everyone loved Firefox because it was better than Internet Explorer. Then Chrome came out and like blew it out of the water. Then for a few years, no one talked about Firefox. Like it was Chrome all the way. Like why would you get anything else? Chrome is the way to go for like 10 years. And then all of a sudden people are like, Chrome has some issues with data and privacy. I don't really like it. Maybe I'll go back to Firefox. And then now Firefox is not dominant, still pretty low, but you hear about it now. For a while, Firefox was dead in the water. Even though they didn't do anything inherently wrong, it's just that people liked Chrome. I don't know. I use Chrome now, not because it's the best, but just because, the ecosystem, right? I like that no matter what computer I log into, I can sync all my stuff to it pretty seamlessly. And it's in their cloud, right? It's attached to my Google Drive account. And I kind of like that. I like having all my files connected to a single account. As long as you don't have anything important on it, it's not the end of the world, right? Oh, okay. I was never really into Chrome until Brave. Interesting. Ransack says Firefox is the worst browser. Mozilla is a horrible company. Okay, sure. Opera GX is good, but not as good as regular Opera. Opera's old, right? If I remember, like I know Opera has gotten more market share recently. 'Cause I see them running their mouth on Twitter all the time, but I'm pretty sure Opera is old, and they just kind of recently became a little bit more popular. Am I right there? I don't know. The Firefox CEO a few years back made some homophobic remarks, so that hurts them a bit. Oh, I see. Well, that's not cool. Why'd he do that? Yeah, it's not cool. I'm not updated on it, so I'm only gonna judge the companies based on their product, not necessarily the people behind them. But if it was something I'd be interested in, yeah, I would definitely research the companies more often. Which, if you care about that kind of stuff, like kind of like the ethics and the beliefs in companies and what they believe in, yeah, you should be researching them because uh, companies are inherently evil. Like they just are. There's no ethical means of consumption under capitalism, right? So, like when people, I ran a Timu ad a few months ago, and I got a lot of people saying, "I can't believe you believe in this company. You advertise with them. They're garbage." And I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Oh, they're Chinese." I go, "Are you racist? What are you trying to say?" Being a person from a different country does not inherently make you a bad company. Oh, they do all these predatory advertisements. I said, "Yeah, so does everyone. Every company in the world does some really shady crap that I hate." I agree. And that's why it's up to you to decide where to shop and where to buy from because they're all evil. Every company in the world is evil, and you need to do your research before you shop anywhere. So, uh, I would agree, but maybe just don't be racist. On Linux, Firefox is king by a lot. Chrome is an afterthought. Yeah, that makes sense. Doesn't Firefox come built into most Linux distros? I think. What was it? I think Raspberry Pi uses Firefox by default, or is it uh what's that Linux one that starts with a U? It's like very popular. I can't remember. I think they start with Firefox. Funny story, I actually had upgraded to the Xbox Series S a month before I won it. Now I just get on my PC. Ah, interesting. Sell that thing, man. You can probably make some money. Or just keep it as a collector's piece. It's a good story. Put it in a time capsule. Firefox is the default on most Linux and BSD. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And that's cool. I think they're non-profit, right? It's, I don't know if they're open source, though. Maybe. Should we switch to Subway Surfers? Let me see. Because I think it's looping a lot of the same stuff. Let me see. ASMR. No, here we go. What is this? Here you go, guys. Is this doing it for you? Fire. Yes, it's open source. Okay, that's cool. I support that kind of stuff. I like, obviously, I like free stuff. I like open source. I think it's good for a lot of people, but it's tough to ask people to donate their time and energy to something where they're um, maybe the only thing they're getting back from it is praise and kind of a well-being of knowing that you are creating something above you, bigger than you, that people can enjoy and use. But whenever, I mean, those people have to make money somehow, right? They have to feed themselves, they have to feed their kids, and so they are going to work a full-time job on top of doing that. If it's free and open source, and they can say, yeah, they live off donations. It's like sometimes donations just don't come, right? Like it's just not enough. It depends how big the project is. I don't know how Firefox works because they make profit on somewhere else, I suppose. I guess selling their search results, but I know they're a non-profit. But for a lot of free and open source stuff, where there's like no way to sell the data because it's just like a one team band, like one guy doing something, right? So I feel for them. Hopefully they can make some money. Obviously, I think Mozilla makes money, but you know, so is Chromium, which is what Edge is based on. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Should I buy? Wait, should I buy Borderlands 2 or 3? Is that what you just asked? Yeah. Why not buy 3? Is there anything wrong with 3? I played Borderlands 1 and I played Borderlands. I played half of Borderlands 2. And as far as I know, Borderlands 2 was better than 1 because it was just more of 1 but bigger and better. So I'd assume Borderlands 3 is more of that, but I don't know. So I'd look up some reviews. But it was fun. It was a good time. I like Borderlands. There's a lot of money to be made in open source, but only in two ways: direct support and custom app services. Ah, I see. Yes. But I've seen stuff like think about like WinRAR. How does WinRAR make money? Is anybody actually buying that? Has anyone ever activated their WinRAR? Right? And so, I mean, surely they must. But the amount of people who use WinRAR for so long, I mean, entire corporations using WinRAR as like their main unzipper and never paying a dime to the developers. And so I think they only lived on donations or people who activated it, which is essentially a donation. So I always wonder about stuff like that, or solo devs who make like a little file, like a little program or like a launch box or something where a lot of people use it and enjoy it, but there's no way to make money on the back end, and so they just do it for free. And if it takes up a lot of their time, they're less likely to put more of their energy into it because they got a full-time job, they've got family, like it's just hard. That's why I'm like totally not against when developers want to charge for their services, because if I want to keep getting updates on this software that I enjoy, they got to get money somehow. And so that's why, like, if you guys know Unraid, Unraid is not free. Unraid is they sell lifetime licenses, but I think they're recently switching to a subscription base, which is still fine. They got to get paid somehow. Like, it's a software that I enjoy, that I like running, and I didn't mind paying the lifetime subscription. So it was a small price to pay for how much time it saved me on the back end, right? And it's good to know that the people who are making it are being able to live well because of the contributions they made to that space. So I don't mind it at all. Blender, yeah, Blender is free, isn't it? I don't know how Blender works. I'm pretty sure Blender is free. I'm not sure if it's open source. How do they get paid? How does Blender make money? I truly don't know. I would love to know. So if you guys know how Blender makes money, please tell me. Oh man. Bob Young is a billionaire who made most of his money off Red Hat Linux. That's very interesting. A billionaire making money off Linux? Are there enough Linux nerds? Yeah, Blender's free. Are there enough Linux nerds to make someone a billionaire? That's amazing. What's his name? Bob Young? I'll have to look him up. I don't know. I don't know too much about Linux, to be honest. I mostly am a set it and forget it kind of guy. They ask for donations before you download. Yeah, I understand that. So it's basically they're just off of donations. But how many people actually donate? The amount of surely it must just be the whales. I think a good way to do that is to ask for donations from individuals. That's fine. But if it's a company, sell them a business license. Like force them. Which I think this is what TeamViewer did, I believe, where it was free to use, but if you were a business, you would have to pay a business license, which is how it works because businesses are going to make so much money off of your software, they should be charged for the right to use it, right? And for them, it makes sense. For the sellers, for the buyers, it makes sense. And then just ask for donations from individuals. I think that could be a good system, but it's hard to like force businesses to do it. Like, if you're a small company, like let's say you're just 3 people and you're working on something, it's hard to say, hey, pay us $5,000 for a business license, even though you're going to make so much money off of this software in the future. Maybe they don't have $5,000 to pay for something they're going to use once or twice a day. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say how they would make money. But let me refresh this. Man, I am getting down a rabbit hole with the Subway Surfers. I get it, man. This works. You can just talk tech and watch this little guy play. Right, left, right, left. I mean, if I was playing this, I would not be able to be this good because I'm also talking. I would have to super focus. And so I'm glad he's doing it. Or I can just sit here and pretend I'm playing. Oh, he lost. Man. What else is new, guys? What is going on in the tech sphere lately? Nvidia, huge stock rising. That's pretty good. Palworld for best indie game? Maybe. Palworld, it's interesting that Palworld came out and was such a huge success. Because so Skull and Bones was released, right? And so for those who don't know, Skull and Bones is a pirate game from Ubisoft that is a quadruple A game, if you ask them. It took almost 10 years to make. They were constantly... It was talked about after Black Flag came out, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And they said they were going to come out and they're going to make another pirate game that was more based on the parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag that people actually enjoyed. So they made Skull and Bones and they constantly changed it. It took 10 years to get through development because it was just a mess. It came out $70 brand new. Sucks ass. Really, really bad game. Holy crap. Looks terrible, plays terribly. It's like, who thought about this? For those $70, you could have spent $30 on Palworld, which is a super fun multiplayer game you'd play with your friends and get easily 30 to 100 hours out of. And then you could also buy Helldivers 2, which is another super fun multiplayer game that you could probably play with your friends for 30 to 100 hours. It's just crazy the amount of money that you could have spent on Skull and Bones or on games that are actually good. And people wonder why AAA developers are dying. It's because they are so bloated, and whenever decisions are made by suits, man, bad things just happen. And it just sucks because I think people had a lot of a lot of hope for Skull and Bones. They wanted kind of more of that ship-based combat, just like in Black Flag, but just never came. So it sucks that I'm glad that games like Power World can succeed. I really wish that AAA developers could make games with the same passion that the Power World devs did. But here's the thing: game developers who work at AAA studios, they don't want to make a bad game, right? Like their goal is not to go out and go, I'm going to make the most amount of money and make a bad game. Game developers want to make good games. And ultimately, if a publishing studio or a game developing studio does not give the game developers the tools or the resources to make a good game, they cannot. So ultimately, like the game devs who made Skull and Bones, I don't think they're bad. I think they just weren't given the time, they weren't given the money, they weren't giving them resources, they weren't, maybe they have bad management. So it just sucks that now those guys or those women or whatever, they now have Skull and Bones on their resume, and that's it. They spent 5 years. Imagine 5 years of your life on a game that flops, and now the next developer you're going to saying, I want to work on your team. Oh, what have you worked on? I worked on Skull and Bones for 5 years. It's like, that game sucked though. So it just doesn't look good on you, and it's not really your fault, you know. And so they have a hard time. It's really, really difficult for game developers in the current market. It's why I would never ever get into it. It's just tough. So I feel for them. 4070 Ti Super. Yeah, 4070 Ti Super came out. They're expensive, man. I don't know. Nvidia is now worth more than most countries. It's crazy. It's so inflated. There's no way they can keep it that way. I am seeing on a Monday or a Tuesday, we're going to see a big drop. Everyone's going to sell. Doesn't mean they're going to go under, but I think it's just a bit inflated. Let's not speak about Skull and Bones. Okay. I actually don't know too much about it other than some footage I saw. Jeff Wayne asks, Jason, you into the Assassin's Creed series at all? That and the Just Cause games are my main jam. Nice. So I actually really enjoyed Assassin's Creed 1. I enjoyed Assassin's Creed 2, and then I never really got into any other ones. So I think they're good games, they're interesting, but they kind of get into that Ubisoft loop, I think. Maybe I got burnt out on them, but they're not bad. I think they're fun. And it's fun that you mentioned Just Cause, because I'm actually releasing a video on Monday, kind of my best Steam Deck games to play series, and on it is Just Cause 3. Which I think is superior to Just Cause 4. So it's funny that it didn't put 4, but I put 3 because it's cheap. And like you said, like those games are just so fun. It's so interesting what sandbox games can do when they really let you do anything. And it's a shame that Just Cause 4 didn't do well because I don't think they're gonna make another one for a while. I mean, it's been what? When did Just Cause 4 come out? 2018. And we haven't seen one in a while, so I'm not sure if we're gonna see one. But it was pretty fun. Just Cause 3 is very fun. It's the best one, yeah. I had a lot of fun, and it plays great on the Steam Deck. There's so many good moments in it that are memorable. Not the story. I don't care about the story, but like just like having a game that gives you the tools to have your own fun is always super exciting, right? People love sandbox games. It's why Tears of the Kingdom did so well, because obviously it's just more of Breath of the Wild, but they gave you tools to kind of make your own fun, and I think that's what people really enjoyed. I really liked watching people make vehicles in Tears of the Kingdom, or making like giant people out of machines. I think that's so funny, and those are the memories that you remember. Like whenever I'm thinking of a game and I'm thinking about my time with a game, I don't ever think, man, that story was so compelling. I think about, remember that time I put the rocket on the thing and I did this and I shot it off like that, right? Like those are the memories you're gonna remember, and that's why sandbox games are so memorable and fun, because those are the stuff I like. So while games like The Last of Us Part 2, which have interesting stories, um, I feel like nobody cares about them the second they're done with it. They kind of just go off into the ether. They're just done. Nobody remembers them. No one thinks about them. Like I really enjoyed God of War on PS4, but there's no memorable moments. Like I just played the game. It was fun. And I moved on. But then you could tell me like, oh, what I like about Just Cause 3. Yeah, I liked when I put my my grappling hook on this person and I attached it to the car and the car drove away and it dragged the person with, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like that kind of memories that people really attach to. You can also do that with people you're playing with, because I played a lot of multiplayer games back in the day. So like Call of Duty 4 or Modern Warfare 2, I played a lot of online with my friends. Couldn't tell you about like the specific shots or anything. Like I didn't do a 360 no scope. I just remember having a lot of fun with my friends playing a game that we enjoyed. And so those are the memories that were like most cherished. And you can make a bad game fun by playing with friends. Uh, and so that's why sometimes it's fun. We like to go deep into the Steam archive and find games that are like maybe not as popular, but you know, they're just a couple bucks and you can make any game fun with friends. So like the for my birthday one year, my cousin bought me Bakugan. And this is, well, I was like an adult, I suppose, or a teenage, like a late teenager, I think. I was very old, and they didn't know what Bakugan was. They just saw that it had anime on the cover, and they go, "Oh, he kind of likes anime. I'll buy this for him." It's a kids game, but and it's not good. But he bought it for me, and so I played it with my friends, and we made it fun, right? And we made it interesting, and we made it some good memories with a game that not necessarily was good or memorable, but you can make anything memorable. Yeah. Let's see. 4 is still fun, but 3 is superior. Yeah. Or you could just buy Skyrim for $10 and have 1,000 hours. Yeah, exactly. That too, man. Like, that's like the one thing, like you said, like $70. The price point's gone up obviously, but whenever you have a game that comes out that is like 5 hours of content, like let's say I don't want to say a game. I don't know a game. When Mirror's Edge first came out, it's only 4 hours long. The first Mirror's Edge is only 4 hours long, and I think it came out at $60 price point at the time because it was on 360. So yes, that game was probably not worth $60. If you are equating time to the price, that might not be worth it. But there are some games that give you 500 hours for $70, and there's a lot in between. So if we're using that same logic, that game that gave you 500 hours should be worth like $300. You know what I mean? And so like I feel like it's not fair to say that every game should be X amount for $70 because some are longer, some are shorter, and it's up to you to decide where you draw the line. Like this upcoming week, I'm buying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for PS5, and it is a $70 game. And I'm going into that knowing that it's a single player experience that I will probably play once, maybe once and a half in the future. I'm not sure. And generally, Final Fantasy games are about 30 to 35 hours of main content, and then maybe 10 to 20 of secondary content if I want to do all of it, which I probably won't. So I'm going into it knowing I'm going to play this game for about 40 hours, and for $70. That's a lot, but it's not as much as like playing World of Warcraft, right? It's not as much as like other multiplayer games, right? But I'm doing it because I love the game, and to me, the experience that they're putting forward does not necessarily equate how many hours I'm going to get out of it. It's because I love that series, and I love the people who make it, and I want to see what they're able to do, because it's not always about the amount of time you put into it. Like I said earlier, it's about the memories you make. It could be the experience. It could be just so many more things, right? And so it's always up to everyone to kind of like know where to draw the line and not always say it's just about, oh, this game was 5 hours long. Because if a game was perfect and it was only 5 hours long, I would pay $70 for it. I would. Like if it was perfect. Now, and a perfect game, if it was truly perfect, I would want to play it again and again and again. So those 5 hours would probably be like 20 hours. But even then, like it's still just 5 hours, right? So it's hard to say. I wish Nintendo made a 4K console just for Zelda. Yeah, I think we're gonna see a new Nintendo console this year, right? I think they said they're announcing something or they're coming out with something new. I I don't think it's gonna be 4K. Nintendo just doesn't. Nintendo's always a step behind. So we'll see. Maybe they'll make a 1440p console. That'd be pretty interesting. The new Mario game is 4 hours, $50? Really? What, Mario Wonder? Or is this Mario versus Bowser or Mario versus Donkey Kong or something. Is that what you're talking about? Yikes. Skyrim, Fallout 4. Yeah, all these open sandbox games are definitely a lot of hours. Minecraft, $30 for infinite hours. Yeah, Minecraft is some of the best value I've ever seen in a game. There are people who bought it in like 2010 and have played it nonstop since then. And with the community adding mods and so much support into this game, it gets updated constantly. It's amazing. There are people who have played Minecraft long enough that they were like, let's say they were 10 years old when it came out. They are now 24. That's wild for a video game. Like, that does not really happen, and it's still like in the zeitgeist. Games do not stay popular that long generally. Now, if there was like a Minecraft 2, Minecraft 3, we can say that for like stuff like GTA San Andreas. We had GTA 4. We had a lot of stuff come out in that time, but it's not like they were just playing GTA 3, right? It's amazing. Versus Donkey Kong. Yeah. Mario versus Donkey Kong. It's only 4 hours. Sheesh. It's interesting because Nintendo can make good games and they're polished, but sometimes they just don't. And I'm sure the game is very polished, but 4 hours is tough, man. And that's why it's only $50, I guess. They probably priced it lower. I think they know this is not like a main game. They know this is kind of for the diehards. This is for the Nintendo whales, the Nintendo babies, the man children, you guys, right? And cargo shorts wearers like you guys. And so they kind of know it's going to sell regardless. At least it'll be polished. At least, that's why I would say Nintendo will not put out a game that is littered with bugs. It's very unlikely. It was great chatting, but dinner time. Have a good one all. See ya, Jeff. Thanks for coming, man. Good to talk to you. Totally Search. What's up? What do you think of meta PCs? Do you think companies like this upsell PCs and sponsor bad creators? I don't know about meta PCs specifically. I don't think I've ever heard of them. But I'm assuming it's like a pre-built company and they sponsor creators. I don't know. I don't really know anything about them, to be honest. Do they upsell PCs? Yes, that is kind of that's how pre-built companies work. And so I'll just talk about pre-built companies in general. Yes, you will pay a premium to a pre-built company because they are building your PC for you. They're doing all the hard work. It doesn't matter how hard you think it is. It could be hard for you. It could be not hard for someone else. It doesn't matter. And I will say you're going to pay an extra for that. And then you're also going to get a warranty. So a 1-year warranty, but that's only as strong as the company says it is. Some companies are better than others. But for someone who's new to gaming PCs and they don't want to build their own, like they truly don't, because they don't care. They just want to play GTA RP with their friends. And they want someone to hold their hand if their computer is broken. They want that peace of mind knowing that I don't know anything about PCs. If something goes wrong in the first year of this PC, they will replace it and they'll help me out and they'll fix everything. And they'll ship it right to my door. All I got to do is plug it in and play it. So it depends what value you put on that, right? I would say for me, that is worth a maximum of maybe 250 to 300 at the max. So I'd say 200 is a better value. So if you take up all the parts and you add tax, because of course they have to pay tax on those parts too, and you add tax, and if they're doing it for only $200 more, I don't think that's a scam. I don't think that's like out of the ordinary. I think that's normal because they have to get paid somehow, right? It's not like they're getting those parts for half off. And for some people, I think it's okay. I've actually suggested pre-built PC companies to people before because I know that's what they want. Because they don't want to deal with, they don't like technology. They truly don't. Not everyone who wants to PC game wants to PC build, right? Those are two different people. There are people who are into PCs, they're into technology, and there are people who just want to play games with their friends, and that's okay. So I would say some PC build companies are okay. It just depends on them. I don't know about meta PCs specifically. I can't comment on them. I've never seen them. Mr. CND, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Love seeing a familiar face. What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. Renato asks, would you buy the Vision Pro or just get a MetaQuest 3? MetaQuest 3. Sorry. Vision Pro looks cool. Don't get me wrong. The Vision Pro looks so cool. Oh my gosh, I want one. If you handed both of them to me right now and it said I didn't have to pay a price, yes, I would take the Vision Pro because if it came down to it, it seems very cool. But there's not much you can do in it. And the idea that MetaQuest can at least play games at the very least is exciting. And so, and it's only what, $500, maybe 450 used, 400. That's compelling. That is compelling. That it's obviously not as good as the Vision Pro in a lot of ways. Vision Pro is just like revolutionary in so many ways, but I think it's kind of like Apple always makes their first products kind of bad, right? Like if we look back at the iPad release, when iPads first released, that first iPad was atrocious, man. It was expensive. The first ones are always expensive, and they're just not as good because they are kind of working out the kinks. They're kind of seeing what the market will tolerate. And so basically the only people who are going to buy it are these rich people who want to be cool because they got the newest tech. And that's cool. Go for them. So you got to pay off that R&D somehow. And then the iPad 2 came out. Huge seller. Huge. Everyone finally understood it. They got it, and boom, sold really well. So it really just depends. And the same thing with the iPhone. The first iPhone, did y'all know the first iPhone didn't have copy and paste? Could you imagine not being able to copy and paste on your phone? It's just insane to think about. Like it truly didn't until like the next iPhone. I think they added it as a service, right? So I think the Vision Pro is cool, but I think the Vision Pro 2 is going to be very cool, right? So right now I just don't see the value proposition in paying that much for it, even though it's obviously the best. $3,500 is a lot of money, man. That's a lot. There's a lot that you can build a lot of PC with that. And I'm not saying it's not worth the money. I'm not saying they're overpricing it. I assure the R&D on this is crazy. It's got an M2, M3 Mac built inside the headset. Like it's a powerful chip, so I get it. But it's just too expensive for my blood. I'm not that kind of person. But it would be cool. So yeah, if it was me, I'd buy the MetaQuest 3. And I actually own a MetaQuest 2, and I like it, and I'm considering getting a MetaQuest 3 just for the pass-through support. I think I would be more inclined to use the MetaQuest 3 because of the pass-through, because I feel like I'm not shut off from the world. Being able to have some pass-through does really kind of bring you into the world, and then I can walk around town with it and look like a cool guy. So if I go to San Francisco, you better believe I'm bringing a MetaQuest 3 with me so I can walk around town. Starforge PCs is weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the pricing. They seem okay. As far as I've seen, their pricing isn't anything outlandish. It's kind of bog standard. But they do support, or I think they were literally created by a bunch of creators. And it seems like streamers specifically, and it seems like one by one they are all getting canceled because of sexual abuse allegations or just demented, twisted behavior. So it's only a matter of time until they each one by one get ousted by the company, and then maybe they reform again. Because isn't it like the same people from Artesian, and then they built Starforge with the creators' money? So I don't know. If they sponsor creators, it's one thing. I think streamers are weird, so I don't I don't know. But their prices seem okay. After a while, every time I've seen people bring them up, they seem like they do a good job with warranty and they're not like crazy overpriced. So if you don't mind having a little, dick and balls emblem on your PC, it might be okay. But I don't have too much research into them. As a rule of thumb, I generally don't think I'd buy a PC from a company that is ran by streamers. I don't think. I think streamers are very popular, but generally, almost all of them are quote unquote entertainers, right? They're not really. I don't know. They're good at what they do, I guess, and I don't want to buy a PC from them. So, or a bidet, or whatever other crap they're selling. I generally just don't. I don't like this influencer marketing, right? Like the second some of these streamers are so rich that they can create anything and people will just buy it. But frankly, I don't know any adults who are like watching these streamers full time. It's maybe some adults will like peek in, but it's generally like children, right? Or like teenagers, which isn't to put the streamers down at all. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But it just feels kind of icky whenever your main audience is children or teenagers and you're trying to sell them stuff. You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird. And it's one thing to like recommend products from a company, but whenever it's your product and you especially with like the gambling stuff, like your audience is primarily children and you're like advertising gambling, and it's just kind of icky. It's icky, but it's hard to say no to the money. These guys are making millions, millions of dollars. You guys have no idea how much money they're making, like insane amounts of money. Money unfathomable to the rest of us. And all they have to do is play a little gambling game on stream. It's hard. It's hard to say no, right? An amount of money that one stream would change your life forever. How could you say no? You know what I mean? And generally, streamers, I don't know if you've noticed, they're generally not as educated as other professions, because they are gamers, and us gamers are kind of weird sometimes. So it's just hard to put a lot of trust into any influencer, whether that be me or a streamer or Linus Tech Tips or MKBHD or anyone. Always think twice about who's influencing you and who's behind it, what's behind it, and understand that just because an influencer says something is good doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you or good at all, right? So it's important that we all think about the decisions we're making when we buy stuff and hopefully not get influenced too much by any influencer, because your purchasing decision should be made by your own. That Asman guy seems very weird. Yeah, he seems pretty weird. There's that video recently where I think he was like reaching for something in his room and a cockroach came out and crawled on his shirt and he was just like unfazed by it. Like that's just a normal occurrence. But I think that's part of his charm. I think his audience resonates with that. It's just like me, for real, for real. I don't know. What's that one laptop company that Linus invested in? Framework? Yeah. Framework seems to be doing cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like that. I like their messaging. I like the idea of having a laptop that's modular, like I said with the ThinkPad. And the idea is cool. And I think even if the company itself goes belly up, I hope other laptop manufacturers use it as like a wake-up call to saying like, hey, people want this. Like maybe we make this. Like maybe we do something that is pro-consumer for once, even if it means like slightly less money. But maybe we get so much clout. I don't know. That would be sweet if that was how it worked. But I'm not sure it is, so we'll have to see. But I like the idea of it, and I think Linus investing in it is fine. I think everyone knows he's invested in it at this point. And I don't know if I'd invest in it, but maybe I'd buy one. If I had the money, I'd buy a Framework laptop. But I already have a MacBook, so I have no reason to buy a Framework laptop. But they seem cool. I like the idea behind it. It's something that we've all kind of wanted from a laptop since the invention of laptops, right? The only thing I will endorse is Linus screwdriver. That's it. Funny that you mentioned that, bro. Because I've got here with me. Let's see. Wait, maybe I don't. Oh yeah, I will say the Linus screwdriver truly is the best screwdriver I've ever used. That's just a fact. I do love it. I use it literally every day, and I don't regret purchasing it. I like it a lot. I will say that. And I will endorse it. They're not paying me to say that. I truly just like it. But if you only use a screwdriver once a month, don't buy it. You can go buy a $3 screwdriver on Amazon. You know what I mean? But if you use it every day, yeah, definitely worth it. And then I also have the Stubby. I don't use the stubby as much. This is mostly a backup if I can't find the main one. But it's also pretty good. I just don't like, my hands are a little, just kind of, I just like the long one. But it's okay. They're both good. Both good. A man of culture, I see. Yeah, I do love it. I did not buy the bag because while I do, the bag looks nice, it's a little too big for me. I think it's a little too dorky and a little too expensive. Because I've seen some quality bags for $100 and theirs is like $250, then plus $50 for shipping. It's just like a little out of my price range, but I don't blame them for that. You know, like I said, R&D and production cost money when you're not building at the cost of these huge companies. So it seems nice. I have every edition of the LT screwdriver. Wow, that's amazing. Why do you have so many? Oh, do you mean you have like the you have the main one, and then you got like what, the Noctua one, and like the retro one? Did you buy all those? Man, it's so satisfying. I love it. I also have another one I custom made at LTX. I don't know where it is. I don't think I lost it, but I put it somewhere. I have one that's all blue that I used to use all the time. I don't know what I put it. It's probably in a bag somewhere. Oh no, I think it's in my car. I took it to my mom's house. Yeah. I like the custom color ones. I got to make that personally at LTX, which was very cool. You have every edition. That's awesome, man. I will also endorse the D-brand case. It is very well made. D-brand case for the screwdriver? Did they make a case for the screwdriver? That's cool. I didn't know that. I've never bought anything from D-brand. I'm sure their stuff is pretty quality. I just never got into it. I'm not into stickers. And they're kind of pricey. But I do like that D-brand actually innovates. They make some stuff that is kind of out there. That's the stuff I can get behind, like the what is it called? The shell for the PS5. I thought that was pretty cool. Or the Steam Deck cases they make. I think those are really innovative. Those are the stuff I can get behind. It's the stickers I don't really care about. No, for the phone. Oh, okay. D-brand case for the phones. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard they're pretty good. Good quality. I'm willing to pay a little bit more if it means that it'll last longer. And I'm thinking about getting one for my laptop because I am terrified of this thing getting scratched. So much so that I have like a plastic clear shell on it, case, just because I didn't want it to get scratched. But it's kind of icky, cumbersome, right? Like I don't want that. I don't know if you could see it. And people said that you're not supposed to do that because it might hurt the laptop over time. I don't know if I believe that, but I might get a D-brand stick just to prevent scratches on the top and the bottom because I think that's what people mostly care about. Even though I have no intention of selling this right now, but in the future I will. And I have a lot of anxiety about scratching it because I don't want a giant scratch right in the middle because it, yeah. This thing is the grippiest thing on this planet. Oh, nice. The phone case? That's cool. I'll have to check it out. I do really enjoy things that are well made. Let me tell you all about some upcoming videos. Oh no, the Subway service is done. Let me see. ASMR slime. Oh, heck yeah. This is it. So, projects coming up pretty soon here. I have this P520, is that what it's called? The P520 Lenovo PC with a 3060 Ti. That'll come up. There's a little budget PC. I have one coming out this week that is for a $450 upgradable AMD PC. That one's pretty cool. It actually has a 1080 Ti in it. I'm very excited for that. I have a Steam Deck OLED review coming out in the next month or so. I'm still testing it, still messing with it. I want to give a full review of it. I also have this, and I'm not sure how I need to make a video on this. So I bought a bunch of these weird emulation handhelds on AliExpress. Like I have like that's the same box as the other one. I'm worried that some of these are the same, and they're all kind of Like, they just keep coming. I have so... This one's a smaller one. There's another bag in here. Like, I have 10 of them. And so I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to make that into a video. If I should just dedicate one video to, like, all of them. What is this? This one has cables in it. Or give them all their individual episodes. But I don't think they're interesting enough to do that. So I might just make one mega video. Oh, this one has AV cables in it. So you can plug it into your TV. Look at that. So if you can't afford a Steam Deck, just buy this. So I've got a big stack of them. And I have like 5 more over there. So I think I need to make a video on these somehow. But I don't know how. Maybe I'll do 10 in one video. Let me get those out of the way. Yep, I have that. I have, let me think, what other videos I have coming up? I've learned not to make laptop videos because I've made 2 laptop videos in the past and they didn't do well. So I think unless I'm comparing the laptop to a gaming thing, I probably won't be making laptop videos. So no MacBook, no ThinkPad, but we'll see. Renato says, I currently have an RTX 2060, but I barely play games. Again, mostly Skyrim or older games. Should I upgrade? If so, what to? Here's the thing, Renato. You said yourself you barely play games. Are the games you're playing on it still running well? Is Skyrim or all the older games running well on it? If the answer is yes, what do you gain from upgrading? Right? You might get a few more FPS at the cost of what, $500? But then what if you want to increase the resolution? Now you got to buy a new monitor. That's another $300 to $400. So now you're $1,000 in to get a little more performance on a game you've played 1,000 hours in. You know what I mean? I just feel like people need to put your money on what's important to you. So if playing Skyrim or older games at a really high FPS or resolution is important to you, then yeah, go ahead and upgrade for sure. But if what you're playing now is running well, there's no reason to upgrade. Just keep doing it, have a good time. There truly is nothing. But if Skyrim 2 comes out next year, upgrade at that time, right? And I think that's when you should upgrade. Wait until a game that you want to play that you can no longer play well on your current machine, wait until that comes out and then upgrade. And then at that point, you can buy a used GPU from the last generation. So we'll say, yes, invest in Taco Bell. You got it, man. Invest in what is important to you. And I know you love Taco Bell because you clearly love Taco Bell. Yes, so I would agree. Yes, exactly. So I think you're good. I don't know. It's like, to me, let me put it in this way. And of course, I'm going to grab a laptop again. This MacBook is 4 years old now, right? It is not any worse than the day I bought it. It is editing everything I need. The battery is just as good. Everything is working great. There's nothing in it that has slowed me down whatsoever. There is nothing in the new MacBooks that would make my workflow faster or better. So by saying, do I need to upgrade? I'm essentially saying, do I want to spend money to play with a new toy that won't really make me any faster, better, or more fun? You know what I mean? So that's how I go at it, though. Like, obviously, take into effect how you do things, but for me, that's how I take a look at upgrades and realize, do I need this? Yes or no? And then you can always go from a budget constraint. Do I have the money to upgrade? Do I really want to spend $500 on this PC? That's $500 that I could spend on a vacation. That's $500 I can spend on fixing something in my house. Would that bring me more joy or more ease, like ease of life, etc., etc.? I get you. I had a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and I just upgraded last month. Nice. The Galaxy S10 was a good phone. But yeah, so that's what you said. So you used it until you realized it can no longer serve you, and you decided that you would rather not have the money, but you would rather have an upgraded phone performance. And that's awesome. And that doesn't mean you need to keep stuff as long as you can, 20 years, 10 years. It means you use them, and if if it's important to you, you spend money on it, right? And if it's not important, don't spend the money. So obviously you made that decision because you needed a new phone because yours wasn't doing what you wanted anymore, and that's awesome. And I hope the new phone is great. What did you end up getting? The new Galaxy? I saw the new OnePlus came out, OnePlus 12, and it seemed pretty interesting. If I was on Android phone still, I would consider it. It seemed pretty cool. But then the new Galaxy looked pretty cool too. But they all kind of cell phones are just boring now. They're all the same, unfortunately. And I don't play games on them. I just kind of watch YouTube on them. So I don't really need a fancy cell phone. But I do like what's it called? I do like MagSafe. Oh my, what is this ASMR video? Is she gonna punch that? Punch it. Yes. Punch. Break the seal. No. Okay. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. S24 Plus, and it is beautiful. Nice. That's awesome. It is beautiful. I watched a video on it from MKBHD. It seemed very cool. I will say I do like Android phones, and I would definitely be on them still if it wasn't for the Apple ecosystem. I would say that Android is just objectively better outside of the ecosystem in a lot of ways, but I do just love the ecosystem. I love iMessage. I love things connecting seamlessly. I love AirPlay. There's just so many benefits that even like an iPhone from like 5-6 years ago would suit me better than an Android from this year. If you're thinking about watching the new Avatar show, don't. That's sad, man. The day before it came out, my friends were saying, "Man, I hope this show's good." And I'm like, Netflix makes good stuff. They're gonna make it real good. And then now apparently it's not. And I'm so devastated because everyone had high hopes for it after the movie. Who would want to watch that? Look, let me tell you all a secret. I went to the midnight showing of the first Last Airbender movie. I was there. I was there. I was at the midnight showing. I went by myself. That's how much I wanted to see it. And I was in Austin, Texas. And I went to a midnight showing. It was packed. Full theater. I had people sitting on my left and right. I was pretty mad about it. And halfway through the movie, I was like, this is kind of bad. And then at the end of the movie, I was like, that wasn't great. And then I went onto Twitter, and I confirmed a lot of people were saying, yeah, that movie was atrocious. Like, you could search by hashtag or whatever at the time. But a lot of people were saying they loved it, actually. So it was like a mix-up at the time. And I think people who weren't familiar with The Last Airbender kind of liked the movie because it was just cool effects, which it was cool. And then everyone who's familiar with the show did not like it. And so if the Netflix show is not good, which I've now heard, I don't know, man. I don't think they should try again. It's just not going to happen. How did they make One Piece good? Isn't One Piece live action good? There's no way they made a show that has 1,000 episodes into a live action show and actually made it good, but then failed to make The Last Airbender good. The Last Airbender is like so perfectly spaced out and pacing for the original show that you could just, it just seems so simple to make into a good show. I don't understand. I yelled at the screen in the movie theater. I was asked to be quiet. Yeah, dude, what the heck's wrong with you? Android's better than iPhone. Apple is way too controlling with their software. Yeah, they are. Obviously, Android is more customizable. But at this point, I don't want to mess with my phone. My phone is not important to me. I have very low interest in ever doing anything that an Android can do that an iPhone cannot. Like, I just don't care. At a certain point, I used to like that a lot. But these days, I don't want to customize it. I don't want to do any of that stuff. So I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, objectively, Android is just better in every way that's not ecosystem. And probably camera processing. I think the camera processing is very good on iPhone. Because I'll take a picture standing next to somebody who has an Android phone, and while their photo might be like a higher resolution or megapixels, mine just looks better at the end of the day. I don't know why. One Piece is okay because the creator was there literally approving all the changes. So I guess that's it. I guess they needed the OG creators of The Last Airbender to make it good, and they just didn't. That sucks. I don't know. I'm probably gonna watch it anyway because I'm a big fan of The Last Airbender, and I think I don't like the idea of like don't watch this, it's bad. It's like I still want to watch it just to know how bad it is. Like I need to know. And I can't I feel like I can't criticize something until I've seen it. So I'll play games I know are bad just because I want to criticize it, or I want to know how bad it is, or I want to defend it because it's actually pretty good. So I'll probably end up watching it. It might just be a while. I am entranced by this slime. This is the best video so far. We should always do this. Because why would you just want to stare at me? Like, let's watch this together. Let's just sit in silence and, and watch whatever this is. Renato says, watch it and suffer with us. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And at the end of the day, I can say, you know what? It was bad. I watched it, and it was bad because of these reasons. And that's okay. In 10 years from now, I'll remember that I watched it, and I'll remember that I was there, and it wasn't good. I'm not one of those people who are like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I refuse to. I'll watch it. I have 0 dropped frames from the stream. I am very impressed with this Lenovo computer. This has been smooth sailing. I've had no issues. Hence why I want to play Borderlands to understand the future movie. Ah, you might hate the movie then. I will say, okay, if you want to play Borderlands to understand the movie, play the first game. Because the movie is based on the first game. And there's a lot of things in the second and third games that you might not truly appreciate unless you played the first one. And the first one still holds up. It's just a little bit more simple than the second and third. Play with a friend. It's got co-op. And it's not too long. I think it works well on the Steam Deck too. So you can play that one. This movie's entrancing. Okay guys, it's been about 2 hours. It is getting very hot in this room. And I think I have to go. But I'm watching this and it's so interesting. But yes, I have to go guys. Let me turn this off and I'll go full screen webcam for the very end. Thank you so much for coming guys. I love you. I love you. It's the greatest. I love doing these streams. I love talking to you guys. Thank you everyone who came out. Umbrology, Renato, Mr. C&D, Nutty VR, Jeff Wayne who left a little bit earlier. Everyone who's here, you guys are awesome. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Again, if anybody's watching, or if you're watching the VOD of this, you can get the Big Deck Energy t-shirt at jasonwhitmer.tech. Supports me, supports the channel. Maybe I can finally get a better webcam if I can sell a few more. I'm really proud of this design because I designed it, guys. I made this, and I think it's super fun. So yeah, super glad to be back on my streams, guys. Maybe I'll do more. Umbrology, I love you too, man. I missed you. Super glad to be back. I'm gonna try my best to do more of these streams. It just need more to talk about, so we'll see. But this was super fun. Thanks guys, really appreciate it. Stay tuned for a new Steam Deck gameplay video on Monday. I'll talk to you